Okay, so what's about to happen is I'm about to do my little forecast. 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. I guess I'm taking a moment. Okay. This is a star story. It's where I look to the heavens. I'm looking at this. And I tell a story. This story is designed to be resonating with the truth of what I'm experiencing with my senses, and also using this sort of sense of wisdom, intuition, feeling, hope, fear. Basically, it's an oration, and it is something that hopefully brings value to your life. If it does not, then I wouldn't advise watching. Okay? Now that we're clear on that. The 17th of October is a full moon. That means that the sun and the moon are opposed. I could show that to you. In fact, maybe I could. Should I? Let's try it. Let's do a little flipperoo. Okay, so there we have the sun in Libra, the very end of Libra, opposed by the moon, right? Full moon. The sun, the earth, the moon. It's on opposite sides, so we can see the whole thing. All right, we're on the same planet, right? Okay, so the sun and the moon are kind of big deals. Without the sun, you wouldn't be able to see me right now. Unless there was some sort of light situation, right? The moon is full. That means a lot of the sun's light. We're not talking about electricity. In the natural, on a full moon, there's more light. You can do more stuff. It's easier to see. This isn't rocket science. It's astrology. It's art. So this time when the sun is in Libra, what does that mean? I know lots of Libras. There's a lot of people who are born during Libra seasons. There's a lot of people who are exuding that sort of energy. What do I know about them? When I think of Libra energy, I don't know a ton of Libras, but I happen to be related to a few. And when I think about them, there's a competitiveness, there's a friendliness, there's a socially sensitive and attuned to various social groups, sports. Like there's this like balanced, beautiful sort of energy about them, right? And there are a lot of Libras in the world, famous ones, normal ones. I'm trying to use the ones that I know the best, right? Why is the sun in Libra challenge? Well, it makes sense because the sun's starting to get less powerful, right? But if that's the case, then wouldn't Scorpio be worse and Sagittarius be worse? Why is it that Libra gets the bad rap? Well, that's where the storyteller comes in. And whenever I'm given the fact that Libra is ruled over by Venus, which is the god of pleasure and love and beauty and all these kind of things, the sun is so fucking powerful that, like, even being near it causes things to, like, probably, like, if you get too close to the sun, like, if the sun is doing, like, compare Earth to the sun, okay? Like, compare Earth to the sun. Without the sun, there is no Earth, for the record. So you really can't have one with the other, without the other, as far as I can tell. But that bright sun energy is doing the powerful on fiery whoa. Like, this is happening. This is exuding so much. Exuding so much. So when it's in Libra, and Libra is the scales, when I think of the scales and the balance, they don't exude like a lot of, like, there's not a lot of energy being exuded in a Libra. It's a tool, like the motif, the symbol of Libra. It's like, does that mean that they don't shine bright? No, everyone who's here is shining, in a sense, equally under the light of the sun. So no matter where the sun is, you still shine, you still have a soul, you're still giving off energy. I'm gonna meet a Libra today for a date. I couldn't be meeting them for a date unless they were real, but why is it said to be challenging to be in Libra territory for the sun? Well, normally, if the sun was in Libra, I'd say, okay, the sun is a very powerful force. It's in that place where it struggles to just exude, to be like the Leo or the Aries, and I believe by extension, the Sagittarius. Like a centaur is not, it's galloping around, it's shooting its arrows. The ram is charging forward. The lion is clearly a top predator kind of energy. It like naps and hunts. It's, it's really agile and beautiful. And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not that rams aren't beautiful. Of course they are. Have you seen Aries people? Of course. All the animals are beautiful in their own way. It's just different. But there is a certain power to the lion. There's a certain power to it. And that's the one that's associated with the sun. And it's also probably the most common. Leos are probably the most common. I know they don't like to hear that, but deal with it. I'm an astrologer that deals with statistics. My stories are trying to be tethered to empirical reality, which also, let me remind you that this story that I'm telling, the feelings that I'm having, the energy that I'm conveying, I'm very much a monkey creature on this planet, kind of going, huh. So I come into the world and I only have access to like the way it is for a short period of time. I don't get to have permanent like Caleb energy. The reason I'm saying that is because when I see people coming into the world and going out of the world and how they choose to spend their time and what's important, I know that I'm also a participant in that. I feel like right now I'm really engaging with real life. And there's a fear, and there's a sadness, and there's an anger. There's all sorts of different things. There's all sorts of different things that I can feel. So I'm not afraid to say that sometimes it feels like a challenge. So people who are Sun and Libras probably do have some challenges that they have to deal with. Real challenges, real problems, real dilemmas. So to make matters worse, the planet that's in charge of Libra right now, which is going to be Venus, this is again on the 17th. Venus is in Scorpio. And when the goddess of love and beauty and pleasure is in this intense soulmate, survival, insect kind of energy, now you can see why the princess, the Venus energy, is just like, oof, oof. Like, that's one conception. But when Venus, I'm like picking my own nose. It's like, it's so perfect. It's Venus in Scorpio. It's like, it's uncomfortable. It could hurt. You have to be careful. Like, I'm haphazard. I'm like literally crazy. Like, in a way, you could spin that story. But we also get swept up in telling stories, making choices. It's like, I forgive myself, my clumsy, awkward self. Venus is kind of a big planet in my chart. I mean, it's in everybody's, but like, when it's conjunct the moon, it's like, it's getting extra sort of like love, beauty, pleasure. It's getting extra like groundingness and reception from the moon. It's like, you have received that. You have received it. The moon is like what you got. The moon is what you got. The moon is what you got. Like, what is this rhythm? What is this rhyme? What is this story time? It's Venus and Scorpio. So the lover in the insect and the sting. It's like I met a guy who got bit by a spider, and he got a tattoo of a spider, and I kind of imagine that those things are connected. They're certainly connected in that, like, they're him. They're things that he said. There's things that I've learned about him. He's starting to exist in my world because I've experienced him. The him in the world that I experience, I've experienced him, and I'm experiencing you all, and you're experiencing me, and here we are. There's that depth, that intensity to the Scorpion. I feel in my body different energies. Are they good? Are they bad? They're kind of like both. Right now, I kind of feel both. I feel different parts of my body that have heat. I feel different parts of my body that have... There's like a perception going on. And I want to honor the right choices. I want to respond correctly. I want to do that. And a lot of times just chilling is fine. We don't need to do things all the time. But when Venus is in Scorpio, there's probably this intensity and this fixation energy that I want to talk about because of the like intensity of the Scorpio reputation. I'm laughing because it's sort of a thing. It's like when you think of a scorpion, I definitely put spiders and scorpions sort of in that same, like, where would a spider be? I mean, Aquarius could probably get spiders just because they're like very nimble and they're good at like building systems, like I understand that we've reduced the universe to different symbols, but like for the scorpion, there's something about a scorpion and a spider though to me that are like, ooh, you got to be on your toes about those little guys. You know what I mean? Like it's true. It's true. Venus, the god of love, is on her toes, and that's not as comfortable as, let's say, in Taurus, the opposite, where it's like consistently good experiences in the body, good smells, good tastes, hygienic, simple, like practical, timeless, human sort of energy. Like right now, I feel like I have a sensible grasp of how to respond in the most mundane way, and that's why lifestyle engineering feels like a good fit for me. Because I'm willing to talk about like just the general shit that I'm noticing. I'm aware that there's a lot of different ideas, but like there's a sense of like I kind of am only being shown one universe where rules are sort of one way. Consistently, this is the one that I'm waking up in, and I'm like, are there more? Am I willing to experience more? I would like to go to the places where the experiences are the best. Thank you very much. My version of the best, though, sometimes does feel like it has to be surrendered to this other version. And a part of me is like, because I like to connect with people authentically, that sort of comes at the result of, I think, being connected to this universe, this planet, this story. And I'm like, am I doing something deterministic here? Am I doing something dark? Is this bad? What rules over that? So we have the Sun in Libra, ruled over by Venus in Scorpio. Now that's ruled over by Mars in Cancer. It's just like another unfortunate arrangement. So the sun is not getting to shine in its way that it wants. Venus is at the very end of this like transit through Scorpio. It's like she's gotta, if Venus in Scorpio is something that you can work with, of course it is. Of course you can work with this. But because this story is, Venus is like, she's tired of bullshit. Like she's tired of dealing with bullshit. She's got to be. She's got to be. Like right now, I could be worried about a million different things. I could be folding my laundry. I know I have a date in like 40 minutes. Like I'm trying to honor this commitment. I have to tell stories, to like express myself, to keep it true, but to respect people's boundaries. And it's like this orator that's navigating connection with the senses. I'm trying to be on the side of the senses, on the side of what is. But there's a part of me that's like feeling this sense of like Capricorn, like strength and like achieving lasting, like, you know, it's how do I want to take control of my body? What practices and habits do I need to do? What do I want to achieve when I'm here? It's like Cancer Mars Mars would rather be in Capricorn. Like Mars would rather be having the things to achieve, having the societal standards, like using your warrior energy to be constructive and to build towards good results and peer approved, like sort of class status. Like it's good shit. It's consistently good shit. It's like working really tough. It's like the goat, the greatest of all time. Mars would rather have the little mountain goat experience, climb the mountains. It would rather be Mars. You need a little bit more Mars energy. Whereas like Mars in Cancer, it's like, I mean, crabs have Mars energy. Don't get me wrong. They will pinch you, but Cancer is associated with the mothering and the nurturing. So if my job is to find the challenging stories, I'm like, women are treated poorly. This Mars is at 22 degrees, which is like, if you go numerology, there's so many different stories that you can tell. You can make up stuff. You can make associations with anything. With astrology, Cancer's so intuitive. It's moving forward. Like the person that I'm in love with right now, in this moment, and that I'm thinking about, because hopefully there's a sense of being in love with myself and with you all and the world, and like trying to choose love. I mean, here I am experiencing this consistent universe day to day, waking up in it, only able to like currently relay the things that I can sort of believe really happened, and like there's a compulsion to sort of play along with a certain script. I've seen The Matrix, you know, I've seen examples of people being able to like bend it to their will. I've read accounts, but like right now, what would I want to bend to my will? I would bend to my will. I would like to have a great experience in my body. I would like to have my boundaries, those that I know about and those that I don't, both be well understood and respected by the components that surround them. Like the spell that I want to cast, this moon-based energy, this intuitive dream, what do I want to receive? If the moon is the receptive, closest, most material, the moon is touchable. It is what it is. Like that's the sort of story that comes with the moon with me. The Mother Earth, feminine. Again, it's all actual Earth is the story that astrology comes from. Astrology is something that comes from Earth. Whenever we're telling a story, the story doesn't encapsulate everything. In sort of like the moon is the closest thing to the Earth that we can get. So whenever it's a full moon, it's like, so the light of the sun is shining to the moon, which is more or less always the same approximate distance from us in the scheme of things. I understand that the orbits are not. I mean, if you start to think about that and you start to compare like planetary movement to like cells and all, it's just holy crap. Like, holy crap, what? The moon is a beautiful thing. The moon is a beautiful thing. If Mars is in the moon territory, what I will say is it's present. It's got to be present. It's got to be in the moment. It's got to be, it doesn't go backwards, right? No retrograde motion from the sun and the moon constellations. So this Mars is moving through the moons. Mars is a planet that's like associated with heat and cutting things and purification and all that kind of stuff, in my opinion, because you want to purify. You like fire and cutting and purity in metals, in, I guess needles. Like I'm thinking about doing acupuncture. I mean, how can Mars and Cancer be manifested in a positive way? Because we could talk about the different things that occur to humans that we're like, that is not within my boundaries. Part of me doesn't even want to bring it up because I know that these topics can be triggering and they can make people think about things. But it's like, what about the women who have told me about their stories? Is the Me Too movement something that I can talk about that's associated with this? Is that, how do we want to talk about what I've experienced and what I've seen in regards to something like this? We've got the Sun in Libra challenge, Venus in Scorpio challenge, Mars in Cancer challenge. It's like I'm getting challenge. Now Moon in Aries, that's what's in charge of the moon. It is squaring, the energy is squaring it. Mars, a square from Mars is not my favorite. It's not my favorite. I have it in my birth chart. It's just like sort of a part of who I am. It's like sometimes you gotta fight, sometimes you gotta do battle, sometimes it doesn't always, you have to give and take. You have to sort of compromise. Like the part of me that has to compromise is I don't want to experience any discomfort, any displeasure, any suffering. I just don't want to do it. Well, the universe is like, yeah, you do. You really do, because you're doing it, because that's what's happening. That's what's manifested. And I'm like, geez, like, since Mars is not in great condition and it happens to rule over, like, man, like, here's the thing about astrology is like, I've agreed to go camping on this full moon. Like there's a camping trip coming up. I have said that I will go. I'm only going to stay one night, I think, but it takes an hour to get there. If I can drive people there to be in nature together, I think that that's a lovely thing. But it's also like, whoa, the astrology is basically saying like, at the end of the day, what's in charge of what's suns is it's going to be Mars in Cancer, Moon in Aries. It's like boom, 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 boom. It's like this tension, this initiatory energy that's back and forth because Mars rules over the moon and moon rules over Mars. So it's like, so it's going to be this back and forth, challenging. For me, it's associated with other people's resources and my friend groups and my social network. And I'm like, yeah, because like around that time, I'm going to be involved at a theater show. and then the next night I'm going to be doing this. Like, I am affiliating myself. And I'm trying to do it in a way that's helpful. But the stars say this is unhelpful, this is challenging, this is negotiating, this is balancing, this is compromising from two planets that are, one of them is in like okay shape. The moon in Aries it's always doing shit. It's always fucking doing shit. I just talked to a moon in Aries on the phone, and they're very much doing shit. Okay? It's got that initiatory, we're going for it, it's the ram. And what's ruling over that? That Mars in Cancer. That Mars in Cancer. Themes around it. Not asserting what you really want to assert. Like, there's a cowardliness to it. And again, I'm not saying that crabs are cowards. They're trying to survive, okay? But compared to, let's say, a Mars in Capricorn. I mean, I imagine the goats run away from people. They should, because people fucking try to kill them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't personally eat animals at this point. I think some people are telling me that if they don't, then they feel really bad. And I'm like, oh man, like, I don't want you to feel bad. Like, I genuinely don't. And I'm trying to feel into my own body. I'm trying to think about my own behaviors. Whose energy is this? Who is it that speaks? What do I need to do to, like, have a good experience and commit to things that are worthwhile and engaging with the challenge and, like, feeling like a popping? Like, I feel like my jaw is, like, crackling right now. I have this energy, there's this dream, there's this collectiveness. It's a time where I'm to get involved with other people, and those people will predominantly be from friends and social groups and networks. It makes sense. It checks out. Like, this full moon is on brand. Part of that is because my friend who organizes these events and is encouraging us to convene is like associating doing something big, having a big celebration with a full moon, which I imagine our ancestors did more out of necessity. Like, and what would they do during this time of year, Sun and Libra? Because the harvest is mostly over, right? Like, we've collected food, we're storing it. It's a beautiful time. It's a time for making art, right? It's a time for painting and a time for games. Like, this is, you know, we're getting into Scorpio Halloween season. That's where Mercury is. Mercury's in Scorpio. It's also ruled over by this Mars in Cancer. So the energy, for me, it's like the battle is not going as well as you'd like. It could be better. There's certain things that are just problematic, and you need to rise to the occasion, and you need to be able to express yourself, and you need to put that shit forward, and you need to be direct, but also you want to be kind. You don't want to say things that hurt people's feelings. Like, I want to be encouraging to these friends who want to go camping, but at the same time, a bunch of smelly men is not, like, the idea of, like, sexual exchange, or if people are trying to hook up, because there's a lot of gay guys, I'm just like, well, sex is fine, sex is fun, it's great, I want people to use their energy to connect, but I would rather them connect in a holistic way. I know that sex is part of human development. Without it, at least traditionally, you needed, male and female. I understand that science is offering different potentials, and there's this massiveness to life that's continuing, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Right now, I will say, so it seems like there's a person that is really lovely and really beautiful that exists and has a lot of boundaries, a lot of intense boundaries. And I'm like, okay, I want to work with those boundaries to the best that I can. It feels like that's okay for me to do. And I'm not trying to be hurtful. I just want to be around the best. And I think that means supporting the best in others and, like, identifying with people. Yeah, right now I'm looking at squirrels. I'm talking to the masses. I've got dates soon. I want to make good choices for my body. I want to be ingesting and experiencing the sensations, the substances that are assisting me on my journey. I think that this beautiful storyteller, this anxious monkey, how do we want to phrase the body? How do we want to talk about things? And I just I'm asking for goodness. I'm asking for goodness. Taking a hike, going on a hike, going on a walk. That's on the agenda today. I'm going to interact with people. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to be as kind as I know how to be. It's a full moon reading. Right now, obviously, we're approaching my previous reading. I could watch that story again and I could decide, like, does that resonate? I could, like, be listening to it as I'm experiencing it. There's different ways that I can approach, like, this art. Like, are my predictions coming true? Is what I'm saying is going to happening? Well, I'm talking about things in a very general way, like very inclusive. It's like the inclusive story of what I'm perceiving of the universe. Astrology is just sort of like a vehicle for me to get to that. It's a way of me to just sort of pontificate and share, and it feels grounded. It feels interesting. Before I listen to other astrologers' forecasts, I try to do my own. So that way, like, I'm not, because it's not that I don't want to listen to them. It's not that I don't value their stories. I really like Chani's stories. I think Chani's stories are great. I think my stories are great. I think that she can steal from me and I can steal from her, and it can be totally not stealing. There's different ways of approaching this, but I understand that, like, I'm an intense energy. That's why I want to associate myself with, like, the serpent. That's why I just want to be, like, upfront about it. Like, I have Mars conjunct the midheaven. I have a day chart, more or less. It's still a day chart. Which means Jupiter and Saturn are on my team. Like, we're gonna play astrology, it's like, okay, the sun gets Jupiter and Saturn. Under the light of the sun, great teachings and great boundaries can be interfaced. Yeah, the sun has that intense, rigid, massive quality, because they're massive. Saturn and Jupiter are massive. Whereas the moon, now the moon is Venus and Mars. The moon is Venus and Mars. It's smaller scale. Their power and reach is probably less. It's more intimate. It's more beautiful, and it's more aggressive in the small sense. But not really, because Saturn and Jupiter, to me, Mars and Saturn are definitely, it's like war, graves, like the darker parts of our human history, the tragedies, the different things that people have done to other people that are just not kosher. But then there's the Venus, the love and the celebration of Jupiter and teaching and blessings. Like, again, we can just use the words blessings and curses to a degree. So if someone has, like, let's say Saturn conjunct their sun, is that a curse or a blessing? Well, the sun is so powerful, actually, though, that if you were to try to spot Saturn, you wouldn't even be able to see it. You wouldn't even be able to see it. You wouldn't even be able to see Saturn, because anything that close to the sun, you wouldn't even be able to see it. It's in the middle of the day. But, like, just because you can't see something doesn't mean it's not there. And here's the thing about conjunction. When it's exactly in the heart of the sun, which means, like, when it's essentially, like, in the same place. So if you were to, like, look up at the sun, it's like, whoa, the sun happens to be exactly where Saturn is. I just sort of want to show you where I'm pointing. Like, a statue. A statue. I've been asked recently that I'm going to get statues. Someone is... Sun and Saturn. Sun and Saturn. Statue energy. I could make that association. Sun and Saturn. Statue. Or Libra could be statue-y. Libra's scales, art. It could be... Actually, statues might be more Libra. Like... Well, but you need... Yeah, and Saturn is exalted in Libra. Okay. The sun, though, is challenged. Yeah, certainly statues don't seem to have as much sun energy. They're not the lion. They're a statue. They're a piece of art. They're a symbol. Yes, statues are definitely going into Libra for me. The exaltation of Saturn. A statue was made. I'm trying to feel into my body right now. Like, there's definitely something in the jaw. I'm feeling like pushing into the jaw. Some sort of... This is one of the side effects of living in Los Angeles and doing things that are perfectly illegal. Perfectly legal. Yeah. Association. Imagery. Navigating. Thinking about previous conversations. Thinking about how I want to proceed. Thinking about the different things people are making things mean. Thinking about how I'm responding to life. Thinking about the consequences of those actions. Thinking about how to kindly protect and caretake myself. How to support the artists inside me. Playing along, trusting the force of the universe, like trying to not get so bogged down by the tough parts that you miss everything. Thinking about the different statuses of the human body, thinking about people who have more or less privileges. Like there is this part of me that's just like, this is a tough time. I want to be helpful. So what do I want to say to conclude? We've got a couple more minutes before we've got to go. So the sun and the moon, boom, right away. Tension, power, manifesting a lot, doing a lot of light being shown, not just during the day, also during the night. It's a colder time, so it's like, I don't know how much sun you're really gonna, I don't know how much you're gonna want to be out, really, in Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius time. Like, probably more than, yeah, I would say probably more than wintertime, right? Like, wintertime, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces, like, I mean, that shit is, well, but, like, it does seem like the Scorpio to Aquarius sort of square is a tough time, because it's got 2 malefics and 3 malefics. 2 Saturn malefics, 1 Mars malefic, but then Jupiter's there, just keeping things, just making sure. So, like, in that, like, super dark period, that dark section, like, Jupiter, Sagittarius is the one, like, interrupting. It's like, so Saturn, the god of death, is like, boom, here I am, this is all my territory, like, Capricorn and Aquarius, like, yes, how many other planets have 2 that are right next to each other? None of them. Like, that's correct. None of them. This is the boundary. Like, right here it is. It's right here. And I'm like, whoa, okay, cool. Okay, cool. And then there's Mars, which is, like, intense. But Jupiter, Sagittarius, that little centaur. So within the realm of that, like, death, war section, probably the hardest third, the most intense third. I don't know, lions are pretty fucking intense. Lions are pretty fucking intense too. But like a bull, Gemini, and crab, I mean, children are fucking intense. You know what, honestly, you could make easily the argument that they're all equally intense, because they're all pointing back ultimately to the same intensity. The words, the ways of trying to frame, like, whoa, like, what kind of bird was that? You want to look at that bird? Let's look at that bird. It's quite something. Bum ba dum bum bum. Hey there. Yeah, I definitely have to add more momentum and stuff to my star stories. I'm gonna get there, but like, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking about this dude, because he's basically saying he wants to give me some statues, and I'm thinking they're gonna go on this, they're gonna go up here, you know? Why not? If that's what this person is expressing, I don't think I'm afraid of statues. I don't think I'm afraid of art. I don't think I'm afraid. I think I can experience art. I think I can deal with the triggers that arise. I think I can. I think that I'm a storyteller. I think that I need collaboration. I do. I think that's a theme of this moment. Boom. Boom. Is this too shaky? Is this too shaky? I should probably like zoom out and just move my hands in. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out what's the helpful thing to say as I explode. So the sun is being, look at that square though. Do you see it? That square right there between Pluto at the very end of Capricorn. Like, it's not going to be there much longer. Wow, that sextile between Pluto and Venus is like a very powerful, intense, like, it feels, yeah, it's really powerful. It's really something. Just dealing lately, yeah, with these themes of these significant romantic relationship kind of energy has been coming up. Let's see. Yeah, that square from the sun, ouch. Square from Pluto, a deep ouch. Opposed by the moon, Aries, so it's happening quick. The light is going fast, it's charging, right? Like I said, I'm gonna be camping, I'm gonna be driving around, I'm gonna be helping at a show, like it's boom, 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 boom. Ruled over by that Mars and Cancer, moon, Mars, moon, Mars. The movement, the tension built in. So, okay, but yeah, that's nice. A really interesting, deep love, a deep, lasting, intense, kind of tough love, Saturn and Mars. Yeah, the love is a bit tough right now, I will say. Neptune is also, yeah, I mean, that's essentially, my sun is at 27 degrees Pisces, so there's definitely some transcendental, transcendental, it's kind of nice. Transcendel, I think that's a name, let me write that one down. That one's gonna go in the story. Transcendel. Where's my open office? Yeah, it definitely feels good. Transcendel. This is how I get the names of the Transcendel. The Transcendel. Yeah, it's like such a great name. If I do say so, I can't really take credit for it. It's just, you know them when you hear them. These fictional labels that are the right words to reflect sort of what's happening, because my story has a spiritual nature, I think, to it. Transcendel. Yeah, it's kind of like Rivendell vibes, sure, but like transcending and a trance in a dell. Like, I had a dream recently about someone in like a forest clearing in a bear suit. Yeah, it's really interesting. A little dream. A little dream. A little dream. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I'm just thinking about my experience. I'm just trying to understand how to navigate. I gotta make art. I gotta go. I made a commitment, so I'm gonna go to the park. But I hope that this story, this intimate glance into my dream, very Neptune dream at the moment. Give me this Neptune transit to escape a little bit. I'll serve. I will. But yeah, if Neptune's going to go into my 8th house. Wow. I'm gonna be dealing with some Neptune stuff. Will I be a tutor? Saturn is a teacher energy. That's in my 7th house right now. Definitely. It's not aspecting anything right now, which could be why, like, I'm not getting to the boundaries. But that's okay. It's always moving. I'll be getting a square from Venus. You know, Saturn definitely gets involved. The limits and the boundaries exist. We're gonna see what happens. We're gonna get to face the moment as it is. Practicing smiling. Dee 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 dee. I'm trying to like honor the wisdom of the smile, but it's a little freaky. Sometimes it feels like smiles are freaky. But I guess if my body feels good doing it, then maybe I should do it. Maybe I should honor it. But I want it to feel natural. I want it to feel pleasant. But someone was like, smile more, smile more. I don't know. Some people smile around me plenty. Chiron is pretty fucking close to the moon. Jupiter in Gemini, though, is coming in with a helping hand. Okay. It's a retrograde Jupiter. But yeah, I mean, Jupiter's coming in and being like, yo, I got you. I got you. I know what to say. I can connect the dots. I can learn about that. There's a lot to learn about. There's a lot of moving parts. That's what I'm getting. That's a lot of wind. That was a lot of windy wind. Windy wind, the windy wind. That's another good one. Anyways, love, light, and the snakes bite.